This is Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning. Shake your body.
Wake your fuck ass up.
Ultimate Team Challenge. I love those trailers, man. You get so excited.
You should do that.
Who, me?
You should do some trailers.
This is a story of 5 different team members.
2 men and 2 women with 1 elite Spartan racer.
And $250,000.
How'd we do?
Good.
We did all right.
Good.
Y'all were really feeling
Y'all
us.
was feeling. Y'all was pulling.
I didn't get a clap when I came in here, but just like I got one clap. I got one clap, and y'all joined in with us like $250,000. Looking at me like, what's
We
up?
clapped. I comment, I celebrated your belt.
I appreciate that.
Man, this dude right
My belt got more claps than I did.
No,
And it's true. I mean, my belt does get a lot of looks though. It's kind of
nice
weird though.
belt. It's a nice belt.
Well, I appreciate it, but it's kind it's kind of weird sometimes. Like I'm in a specific place and people are like, "Hey, I want to take a picture with your belt." That happened to me last night. The girl was like, "I want to take a picture with your belt." I was like, "All right,
If
and
you take it off.
Well, I tried to do that. She was like, "No, it's like it looks cool." I was like, "All right."
And she wants you to keep the belt on.
I don't know, man.
That's whack.
Sometimes I don't know what to say though. Like when people want to take a picture with you, or they want to take a picture with your belt, are you supposed to turn it down? You're supposed to say no, thank you. I mean, we're in a very precarious position within life right now, and if we say something bad, someone just like might troll us and say something bad about us. I don't know.
It's hard, man. Dhani Jones is here, ladies and gentlemen. Dhani Jones.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I don't want anybody to triumph alone. I want to triumph together.
Yeah.
Together.
These are the things you would never know because you see Dhani on TV all the time, whether he's traveling the globe or doing a tons of casting with VH1 back in the day.
Oh man, that was back. I took it way
back because one of the things I find fascinating about you, similar to Michael Strahan, is
I appreciate that.
I love when athletes are able to not be just because you play sports don't mean you're not interested in so many other different things. Yeah. And I think you proved that even before Strahan did, in my opinion.
Well, look, I have to give props to Strahan because he was the guy that welcomed me in when I was on the Giants.
Yeah.
And just being there asking him questions and then him getting probably really annoyed with me more times than none. And then also Jay Glazer when he was doing some stuff here in the city. Now they're both on Fox, and then obviously Strahan doing Good Morning America. But is really looking up to those 2 guys, really looking up to Strahan. And he said to me, all you have to do is say please and say thank you, shake everybody's hand, look them in the eye, and be kind to people. And in New York City, they'll embrace that, right? And you see the trajectory of which he's been able to grow.
Yeah.
I just tried to follow that. I kind of took a different type of path because I was doing the Travel Channel stuff, the Tons of Cash stuff, the ESPN stuff, and now doing, Spartan on NBC. So it's been an incredible journey, but then you're also looking at guys like Akbar Kabajimila, who's on American Ninja Warrior, Kirk Morrison. You got all these guys doing a lot of TV, and things are starting to get really well diversified. So it's an exciting time to be an athlete that's transitioning.
I'm sorry. I want to go back to football for a second because I read that you're one of the people who was an advocate for getting rid of helmets in the league, and that would come down on the number of concussions because that's really like a big topic right now. You got Will Smith do the concussion movie, and a lot of studies have been shown like whether or not it's a major issue.
Well, I mean, look. The game of football is inherently violent. If you're going to do something violent, you're going to expect violent things to happen to your body. That's just what happens. The game of football, for it to change, if you do take out the face mask, but it changes the entire complexity of the game. If people really do a lot of studying around concussions, you'll actually see that it has to do more with the whiplash than actually the impact itself. So in female sports, where there's not necessarily a helmet being worn, a lot of times there's a higher level of concussions, in soccer and other sports like lacrosse because people are hitting each other. And so your neck is actually the muscle of which you need to strengthen the most in order to prevent the least amount of concussions from occurring. And the point I was trying to make in terms of the face mask, when you take the face mask off, you don't use the helmet as a weapon anymore. Right? If you just think about it, if I'm fighting you and I got full plated armor across my body, I'm not worried about anything. Right? But as soon as you take my helmet off and we're fighting, and you take your helmet off and we're fighting, I got to block my face. You're just trying to, so it's the same type of thing in football. We'll see what happens. It's tough, but everybody knows going into the game that some things will unfortunately happen to you. I've broken bones. I've had surgery. I've been knocked out. I mean, those types of things happen.
That's been knocked out.
Yeah. I mean, I knocked a bunch of other people out.
Okay, you got to make sure you say
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
part.
I got it.
Hey, so what? I know a lot of. First of all, Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge premieres on Monday, right on NBC at 10 p.m.
Right after American Ninja Warrior. So we're just rolling right in. So we got the individual sport right into the team sport with Spartan.
Okay, dude, I know a lot of basketball players tend to sometimes choose teams according to a location, like New York or L.A., because of also the opportunities that come with that outside of the sport, the fame factor. Is that true for football too?
You know what? I'd imagine some people do, but ultimately, you know, it's the best contract that you can get. You know,
Okay.
And you know, it's funny because I look back on my career, and when I went from the Giants to the Eagles, and then from the Eagles, I was down in New Orleans for like a small cup of coffee. I mean, I didn't even get to put any cream and sugar in it; it was just still black. You know, and then I got to go up to Cincinnati, and I ended up finishing my career. Then I had a great time. You know, I didn't even think about it as a player, sort of the impact of going from, you know, team to team and the complexity of who's on the team, the coaching staff, you know, ownership and attitude. You know, it wasn't really until I got to the Bengals that I put everything together. So I think that, you know, if I'm looking back for myself, I didn't even, you know, think too hard about it.
Factor that in, right?
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of guys factor it in right now. I mean, obviously you're looking at Von Miller and the contract that he's trying to get, and they're supposedly like $20 million apart, but it's really about guaranteed money, not necessarily about the money he's getting, because he's getting, they said $114 million, I think like $29 million, but J.J. Watt got like 50-something guaranteed. Right?
Okay.
So he wants that guaranteed money, and that's the thing about football. It's not guaranteed, and that's why you got to be able to set yourself up and have conversations with Strahan so you can make those transitions.
Dhani Jones is
Like
here,
I
man.
looped it back.
I like that.
You like that? Yeah, I got a little love on that.
Yeah,
There you go. I didn't get any claps. What's up with that?
Give them claps, man.
Hey.
All right, we're going to open the phone lines. Dhani's here. Don't forget Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge Monday, June 13th at 10 p.m. We're going to come back with more sports.
Yeah, the NBA Finals last night. Sway.
Whatever. Yeah, we got Dhani Jones is here.
Yeah. I'm not going anywhere.
Not at all,
I'm taking
man.
these headphones with me.
And he makes great bow ties,
I
man.
appreciate that. Bow ties for a cause.
Yeah, talk about that philanthropic initiative, bow
I
tie for a
appreciate
cause.
that. No, I was actually down at the Social Innovation Summit, which was held in Washington, D.C. at the Reagan Building. And Landmark Ventures put it on talking about basically, you know, different companies from IBM and Google and Apple and Uber and Lyft and kind of across the board, Lockheed Martin, talking about corporate social responsibility. And, you know, we gave a presentation, and a lot of people talked about digital, you know, the ecosystem, how it's changing, how companies are iterating in order to create better opportunities. AARP Foundation was there, you know, kind of talk about a lot of them. And, you know, I always talk about bow ties and how I wear them to support my friend who had cancer. And now through Bow Tie Cause, we work with about, you know, almost 200 different companies, corporations, nonprofits to help them raise money. And we always talk about the power of story, because we've told almost, you know, 37,000 stories and raised over $1 million. And our point was, you know, there's an analog piece to the puzzle as well, right? There's an analog piece that that still needs to be there as you're even iterating around, you know, raising money and dollars and cents for nonprofits. But it's most importantly the stories that are told, because that's the fastest lane to the brain. So, you know, I have my bow tie here. I didn't put it on because I was wondering if someone was going to challenge me to like tie the bow tie. You know, that always happens. But this bow tie is for the Headland Center of the Arts in San Francisco. But you know, like juvenile diabetes, we 100 bow ties and one dinner. We raised $40,000. You know, for James Beard Foundation, which is here in New York City, one bow tie sold for $10,000.
Wow.
So it's the impact of those bow ties alone, but most important, the stories that help raise that money. So it's been awesome.
Dhani Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Red from Dallas on the line. Go ahead, Red.
Hey, Red, what's good?
Big Red.
Sway, Heather B, Tracy G, Dhani Jones, what's good?
What's happening?
Babes.
Good. Hey, I wanted to get Dhani. I want to talk to you about this. So listen, I did my first Spartan Beast race down in Glen Rose, Texas, down in the hill country. I've been doing a bunch of CrossFit, this, that, and another, and whatnot, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just going to, if nobody's ever done one of these beast races, I don't know if it would, I've not seen the TV show, the most worst ass kicking I've ever had in my life.
Wow, really? What was so hard about it,
17
Red?
miles.
Because you train, obviously. What made this one difficult?
Well, here's the deal, and I didn't know anything about Spartan Beast Race, so I didn't know anything about Spartan Race, period. Buddy of mine calls me up and says, "Hey, what you got going on Sunday?" I'm thinking, shit, this fool's got tickets to the Cowboys game or something. Hey, I'm in. He says, "Listen, we're heading to Glen Rose to do this Spartan Race." And I'm like, okay, no problem. 17 miles, cross country, 23 obstacles, half a mile in, I think it was probably 37 degrees, water. And like Tahani said, it's basically a team factor on there. No man left behind.
Yeah.
This was kind of like a Wounded Warrior project type deal that we were doing.
So what was the hardest part for you?
Man, the hardest part for me was probably the half mile swim in the 37 mile and the 37 degree temperature on there, man. But here's the deal: there was a guy that was a double amputee from the waist down that started and finished that thing with three of his buddies. And if you think you're broken, look back and look at that. And if that doesn't give you the drive to keep on, then you ain't living right.
What, a double amputee? Did he just use his arms to swim, or how did that work?
No. He was on prosthetics.
Oh,
Both of his legs had been. Yeah. So it was a. Yeah.
Well,
it's
you don't
no
want to
joke.
laugh at that visual, but
Yeah, and I'm not sure how these work, but for every obstacle that you couldn't complete on the one that we were actually at, it was a 30 burpee penalty on there.
Okay.
I don't know if
all
you've
right.
ever done 30 burpees, but times 28, that's a lot if you can't do the obstacles on there. But yeah.
Okay, so make sure you watch the show Monday, Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge, and hit us Tuesday and tell us if you respect the course. All right?
Absolutely. Very good, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. You know, the great thing about, his story is that so many people have those similar stories when they do, Spartan or these obstacle course races. And you learn so much about yourself within the first mile. And most importantly, once you complete it, you look back and you realize you can truly accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And in the show, we really tell the stories about people whose lives have been changed because of Spartan. People that have overcome alcohol addiction, drug addiction, people that have gained and, lost weight, people that have lost their family members. Another guy, Mark, the 10 Haken brothers, one of them, their daughter who was adopted, when they brought her home from Ethiopia, they realized a couple of months later that, there was something with her, and she unfortunately can't communicate. And so he actually competes for her, and it tells a story about his love of his daughter, even though she can't say "I love you" to her father.
Yeah.
He knows that he loves her. He knows that she loves him, and he runs for her. And then another girl who's running for her mom who passed from breast cancer. And the great thing, like, people watch American Ninja Warrior and you see, man and woman versus course.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at Spartan, these are people versus themselves. These are people as teams that are competing to lift each other up to get through this. I mean, this is a mile-long obstacle course challenge. So this is not like 17. This is not, this is not 26 miles. This is a shorter course. But, the obstacles themselves are bigger and badder and stronger, and you can only get all the way through it if your entire team makes it through.
Dhani Jones, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was just a game show, man. But
No. These are serious people competing for serious cash at $250,000.
Yeah, I'm gonna set my teeth. That's a human interest story right there.
It's Sway in the morning, only
On Shade 45.
Kilo.